Hi, this is Leonard Smith from Sense Memory, and tonight we're having a classic dry martini. 3 parts vodka, 1 part dry vermouth, and you shake it up in a cocktail shaker and pour it into a chilled martini glass with 2 olives or more. So this is Sense Memory. Let's get started with the review. Tonight, we're going to be discussing a cologne by Oscar de la Renta, who just recently passed away, great American designer. And that cologne would be Oscar for Men. It was created in 1999. But before we get started on the actual review, I want to tell you a little bit about Oscar de la Renta. He was born in the Dominican Republic in 1932. And he was very interested in art and actually began his career by studying art at the Academy of San Fernando in Madrid. From there, his sketches led him to a job at Balenciaga in Paris, and he worked there for a little while and then moved on to be a couturier's assistant at Lanvin in 1960. After that, he came to the United States in 1963 and worked for Elizabeth Arden, who at that time also had a clothing line, as well as makeup and beauty spas. In 1965, he launched his ready-to-wear line, and in 1967 and 68, he won the Coty American Fashion Critics Award. In 1973, he was involved in what has to this day come to be known as the Battle of Versailles, and what it was 5 designers in France invited 5 American designers to come to Versailles Palace outside of Paris and be involved in a group fashion show. And it was designed to raise money for the restoration of the theater at Versailles. And what happened was that the French put on very stagey, very staid, and somber kind of show. And after the intermission, the Americans came out, no sets, just lighting and music, like Barry White, for instance, was used, and they presented their beautiful fashions. And the Americans stole the show with this incredible production. Now, the 5 French designers that were involved were Yves Saint Laurent, Pierre Cardin, Emmanuel Ungaro, Christian Dior, and Hubert de Givenchy. The 5 Americans were Oscar de la Renta, Stephen Burrows, Halston, Bill Blass, and Anne Klein. And as added a little note there, one of her assistants, Anne Klein's assistants, was Donna Karan. That's how she got her start working for Anne Klein. And the show was opened by Liza Minnelli singing Bonjour Paris. So in the end, the Parisian crowd cheered, went wild, nearly had a riot in the theater, threw their programs in the sky, and it became the event that put American designers on the map for the rest of the world. It was really the beginning of great American fashion designers taking their place, their rightful place in the world of fashion. He dressed scores and scores of film stars and celebrities, and in fact was the designer for 3 former First Ladies, and also designed dresses for Michelle Obama. The house has 39 fragrances, and his very first fragrance was in 1977, which was Oscar for Women. Oscar for Men is classified as a woody, spicy, and as I mentioned before, it was first introduced in 1999. The top notes are mandarin orange, fir, resin, bergamot, and pepper. The mid-notes are nutmeg, lily, lavender, jasmine, violet leaf, cloves, and rose. and the bottom notes are leather, sandalwood, musk, balsam fir, vanilla, and incense. Now, I had put it on a while ago, and it's on this arm. It's in its dry down, but the opening is quite peppery. Let's put it that way. I would classify Oscar as a kind of last gasp between, or a transition between the big boldness of the late 80s, early 90s, and the introduction of more subtle scents and more of the aqua kind of scents of the late 90s and the early part of this century. It is very elegant, very sophisticated, and I would say that the first thing you notice is the pepper, like I said before, and there's a lot of fir in there. In the mid notes we have the lavender, which really comes up along with the jasmine and violet leaf, and the rose is very subtle. There's definitely a rose in the dry down, very subtle and nice, but not too sharp. I'm not a big rose fan, but it works really well here. Then the leather comes in at the bottom, which is really dominant in the dry down also. So it's kind of a leathery, rosy, peppery kind of scent. Definitely, I would say something really good for formal occasions and times when you really want to make an impression and be a bit more sophisticated than in the everyday wear. So there we have my take on Oscar for Men by Oscar de la Renta, and in memory of the wonderful designer Oscar de la Renta, cheers. And you know, I'm sure Oscar would agree with me to wear what you love and not what they say you should like. Talk to you later.